Hey, Dr. Keith.
Corey, good to see you.
Good to see you, brother. As usual, I am very, very excited for today's show. I think we're going to be talking about codependence today.
We sure are.
Which is sort of this idea that we define ourselves, the value we place on ourselves, we find externally to ourselves. And we want to talk about all of the sort of challenges that come with that. So I'm looking forward to hearing you speak today.
And what to do about it.
Yeah.
Well, let's just start.
Let's jump right in, baby.
Let's just jump right in, baby. So any therapist deals with codependence every day of their professional life. And here's what codependence is. Codependence is one person puts out, I need some help. And another person helps them in a way that diminishes both of them. So the most common example of that historically has been an alcoholic system. An alcoholic system is any system that has an alcoholic, a practicing alcoholic in it. So in a family, say dad's an alcoholic. So he's having trouble finding his bedroom. So his son helps him to his bedroom. So the dad gets a little bit of relief being helped by the son. The son feels like he's helping, but actually what the kid's doing is he's supporting an alcoholic system because he's forced to, he has to live in that house. The guy's wife the next day calls his work and says he's sick, he can't come in. He gets a little bit of relief from that. She feels like she's done something, they've both been diminished. That's codependent behavior. And it causes a lot of problems. Quite a lot of behavior that keeps us crazy and sick is codependent behavior. And I'm going to talk more about that in a little bit. But first, let's contextualize this because we are integralists. That's what we do. We can contextualize.
Some of us anyway.
And then we contextualize again, and then we meta-contextualize. It's just the nature of the evolving present moment from us into infinity.
This is what we do. We think about thinking and we talk about talking.
Yeah, and then talk about that. Anyway, we're intensely social. Everything is relationships in the universe. We're the most relational species that I'm aware of. And when we relate, we'll relate in one of three ways. We'll be in three modes of relating. One will be dependent. Another needing somebody to help us out will be independent. We're doing something autonomously. Or we'll be interdependent. We'll be collaborating with another person, creating something. And there's healthy and unhealthy versions of all three of those. So the healthy version of dependence is like an infant. An infant is dependent on mom. Mom is supporting the child, and the child is being empowered by this. And both of them, if it's done with love and generosity and appropriate boundaries, is done in a way that enhances both of them, that expands both of them. Another one is somebody's sick and somebody's taking care of them. Another one is, I'm dependent on the electricians that come and work on the electricity in my house because I can't do that. That's healthy dependence. And healthy dependence, again, leaves people feeling expanded, enlivened. Unhealthy dependence is codependence, where help is given in a way that diminishes both people. Healthy independence is somewhat appropriately using agency to deal with a situation on their own. A vision quest is a good example of healthy independence. James Masterson, in his famous book, Narcissistic and Borderline Personality Disorders, like most object relations people, he wrote like voluminously about pathology and like a couple of sentences about health. Freud was like that too. Health is the ability to love and work. And then there's a million other words about sick. But anyway, but Masterson said was that being healthy is being 100% responsible for everything that you experience and do. That's healthy independence. Unhealthy independence is counterdependence, where you do not ask for help or receive help appropriately. I'm going to do it on my own. I'm going to soldier on. I remember once I had an infection in my leg, and I go, I can take care of an infection in my leg. I'll just eat healthy. And it got so bad that if I probably was within 2 or 3 days of dying if I hadn't gotten to a doctor.
Oh, wow.
That was being counter-dependent. And that's probably one of the reasons that men live on the average 7 years less than women. Women, it's easier from a cultural standpoint and also from a genetic standpoint to ask for help.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's healthy dependence, healthy independence, and then counter-dependence, unhealthy independence.
Mm-hmm.
Interdependence is what you and I are doing. Two people get together and they give and they receive, they rely on each other for different things to be able to create something or serve someone in a way that enhances the highest good. Mm-hmm. And that's healthy interdependence. And healthy interdependence really is the driver of the human superpowers. If you took all our superpowers, what they're called cities and SIDDIs in India, I think probably the human superpower that's the most potent and powerful is our capacity for interdependence. The famous quote from a primatologist, he said, "You'll never get two chimpanzees to pick up a log and carry it someplace. They just can't do it. But we automatically do stuff like that." Mm. And if we're doing it to serve the highest good, anything's possible. Now, what's unhealthy interdependence? Unhealthy interdependence is like mass formation psychosis. Mm. People get together, they feel in community, they rely on each other, and they do it to cause damage. They do damage to the environment, they do damage to other groups, they do damage to other people. And these forms of relating are omnipresent. We engage in all of them all the time. We all have codependent impulses. We all have counter-dependent impulses. We all have impulses interdependent to identify others that we want to. I swear, I spend a fair amount of my time interrupting my impulse to want to punish groups of people that I think are causing damage. Yeah, it's amazing how that's such a practice.
Yeah. So, and Keith, this seems to be something that's present on every holonic level. I mean, we're talking about obviously human psychology right now, but right in Ken Wilber's 20 Tenets, he talks about how every single holon has all these different ways that it can pathologize, right? It can either move towards too much agency, too much independence, too much individuation. And that looks like, well, on a cellular level, that looks like a tumor. Yes. Right. Or it can skew the other way and you can have too little agency, too much communion, and you lose yourself and you don't have a healthy boundary, which starts to look something like codependence. That's right. So this is a dynamic that actually exists on all holonic levels, which I think is fascinating.